All right, everyone, we are here with War 5 against Noxious Smoke. I accidentally deleted my startup video, so today I was bringing in Dr. Doom, Mr. Negative, and Tigra. I have Path 2 in Section 1 and Path 8 in Section 2. I have 3 mini-bosses, and I am not on boss duty this war. So I split Path 2 with another person. I end up taking Maw here on the second node of Path 2, and then I'm aiming to take Manthing on the shared node, since he seems to be the most common placement for node 20 this season. So game plan against this Maw, I actually thought I was going to take it with Tigra, and then I remembered I can use Mr. Negative. What I wanted to do was to parry medium light 2 times, and I figured I would end up reparrying a couple times during that. And I was hoping that after those combos and then an evade counter, which will count as a light attack, is going to push him to SP1. And then I figured on the SP1, hopefully there was enough time before Falter hit to land the heavy. And I knew this plan weighed heavily on whether he was going to throw the SP1 or not, so he doesn't. And I, of course, get impatient and attack, and then throw that heavy there, which was during the Falter, and I end up taking the hits. That's fine, so I'm going to go ahead and evade counter here, and then just into SB2 and let him melt. So we took a few hits, took some damage, but since we got that SB2 off, the game was pretty much over for Maw. Pretty sloppy start of the war, but at least I came out on top. So we heal up and we go in at Manthing. Usual game plan here with a PS1 is to parry, reparry into a heavy, bank the Fury, and then parry medium light, and that should put us at 4 hits. Then we evade counter, and that'll put us at 5. Then we bait out a special or wait for the armor up before we go into the next set. So here's the special attack. Here comes the armor up, no unstoppable. So we go into the next strike counter. There's a parry, 2, there's 4 hits, and there's the armor up. So we're good to go off the evade counter, and down he goes. He's just melting away. Probably one of my cleaner Man-Thing fights, and we actually got pretty lucky. He didn't go unstoppable once, but biggest thing is it wasn't unstoppable during our SB2. And then long shots here on Power Snack. So it's been a bit before since I've taken a Mr. Negative fight where I just parry heavy 3 times and go right at it. I guess Magneto, the last war, kind of counted. So game plan here, parry heavy 3 times, and I'm only going to try and hit him while he's stunned so that we don't give him pure heart, since Mr. Negative is not bleed immune. And there we go. So now we're going to evade counter off a blocked hit. And then we're just going to let him throw this SP1. And he threw it right away. Guess he did not like our evade counter. I'm going to parry heavy one more time. Just give me a little extra dark energy for this SP2. And then we're just going to let him melt. Double petrify. Backup recovery is going to make him lose power. Now we're just bullying him. And as he's melting, this heavy gets off as he comes into me, and we just hit around a dead corpse, or a knocked out corpse. So good section 1 set. Moving on to section 2. These fights on path 8 I plan on taking with Doom. Sure, it has Divine Barrier, but Doom is a tank and can drain some power and nullify buffs. So with Mystic Dispersion, he's just going to get to SB3 really quick. The first fight here is Storm, and there's actually nothing really to worry about with this fight from the node. But I did do a few practice fights and realized that I'm not going to want to throw SB3 with her at SB1. I'm going to want to bait that out and then throw the SB3. And the reason for that was if my basic attacks glance when trying to power drain her under 2 bars of power, then there's a chance I'd be taking an unblockable SB2. And sure, he's a tank and he is shock immune. Doesn't mean that I like potioning up all war from just how hard that SB2 will hit. So I'm very mindful of this fight as to whether the shock places or not. I'm also very mindful just paying attention to it just so that I don't go into the heavy for the passive stun. So it'll almost look like during this fight that I just don't rely on the passive stun. All that I really do is push to SP3 here, and then as I said earlier, make sure she's not at SP1, so no power, and then I throw the SP3, and I'm letting all the damage from that SP3 pretty much end her. So even with the weaknesses, I think they shrug off. They're supposed to shrug off after the special attack, but seeing that damage makes me think it's actually during the attack. So takes off a good chunk. I come out swinging with medium, light, so that I power drain as much as I can to maybe get back to SP3. And yeah, we're just sticking with the same game plan of baiting out her special 1 attack and making sure that she's at almost 0 power when we throw our SP3. I do decide to just avoid using SP1 to boost to SP3, and that's just because of the Divine Barrier, and I know that she's not going to gain any extra power outside of me hitting her, so it's just smarter to play it safe. Now this does take quite a while. I was hoping the invulnerability boost here would have covered me to Mojo, but what you're going to see is that this fight almost uses up that entire invulnerability boost to where I almost needed to use one for Nova. But fight's going well. We haven't lost much health at all, if any. And I believe it's the end of this SP3, us coming out and doing a combo that finishes her off. So pretty straightforward, pretty standard fight. Pretty funny that in honor of facing Iron Patriot that I came in with my Doom when I don't use them in war that often. So I kind of smirked at that thought. Nova here, this one can be dicey. I'm sure you saw in my boosts that I used the 33% boost. It was in case I took more than 3 special 3 attacks from Nova here. Just because Doom doesn't have enough buffs to counter the rich get richer. So it's me kind of grasping at straws trying to get Nova's buffs removed before Divine Barrier pops up. And if it doesn't happen, then I just kind of deal with the fact that he's going to be gaining power. I do want to rush to my SP3. If there is an opportunity, like now, where it's down to throw an SP1, then I'll go ahead and throw it, but I wanted to bait that special attack out. So here's the SP1 to get rid of that. So that'll cut some rich get richer, some of the rich get richer flow off. And now I'm just building to my SP3. I'm not really trying to use unblockable special 1 or SP2 for this fight because I don't need the 70% reduction from Nova. So my game plan was to build to SP3, use SP1 if I can because of the Divine Barrier to get rid of the buffs. But if I can't, end combos with a light attack or just do all light attacks to boost myself to SP3 real quick. And then I highly recommend getting used to dodging SP2 from Nova if you want to avoid a lot of unnecessary damage in this fight. So there's an SP3 with 2 Furies, and the combo out of here is just going to knock him out. So much faster. I did have to use another invulnerability boost for this Mojo, though, since the one I had for Storm ran out during Nova. So here, you guys have seen me take this before. You know I don't like taking it with a PS1. Game plan is to parry and do full combos ending in a light to push him back to his wall. And about 5-6 light energy, I'm going to evade counter. And then bait out his SB1. So here we go. We're at 5. We're going to go ahead and evade counter since he's under a bar. Now we're going to go back to pushing him to his wall. If he gets passive, we're going to hit into his block. We got a nice intercept there. Here's some blocked hits just to back him up. He threw SB1, but we didn't trigger any buffs, so unfortunate there. So I stopped my combo short so that I can parry and build some light. And we're at SB2 here, so now I'm realizing that I'm going to have to just straight up parry. So parry, back up, parry again. I'm going to evade counter off a blocked hit, and the double petrify here is going to be enough for me to just block Turtle and let him lose power as he melts away. So easy peasy fight as usual for Mr. Negative. All right, so all war is probably most nervous about these next 2 fights. It's because I brought Tigra to war, which I've never used her in season. and she's unduped. So all the videos you see of a quick takedown with Tigra, these aren't going to be them because I can't immediately get to SB2 and finish it. So I was pretty nervous, but I was going to play Tigra pretty basic compared to how you've probably seen her. I could be baiting heavies here and retaliating, but I instead combo her to her wall. Now I'm going to try and bait out this SB1, and I did practice the retaliation for this one. So I am going to dash in, charge heavy, counter, and then now that she's below a bar of power, I am going to go ahead and heavy punish her against the wall, and then SB1 there to get 1 cents up, doing the trick to SB1 to her SB1 to get back to a bar for me and a bar for Sersi. Just gonna go ahead and throw this one, and then I'm realizing with how much health Sersi is left that I'm not gonna make it to SB2. So in the middle of this heavy chain, I decided to back out and throw SB1, and this will end it. So I was pretty happy. It's a pretty straightforward, not super flashy Tigra fight. Now the complicated one, Stun Reflect against an unstoppable armor champion, Hulkbuster. So here I'm going to play it pretty basic as well. I'm going to block bait heavies, and I'm not going to heavy retaliate them. The timing's a little too quick for my blood. So when he heavies, I'm actually just going to combo him to make sure that I keep neutralize up. We're making sure he didn't go unstoppable there before we attack, so we're good to go. Now that we have neutralize up, we're watching the timer and making sure that we can get neutralize up again. Baiting out his SB1, and I am heavy retaliating them. So there's a heavy I'm comboing, pushing him back. Now he's going to be pretty stubborn here, but what you're going to watch me do is that while I'm baiting this, I'm paying attention to the timer, and I realize I need to go hit him to get neutralized back up so that that armor up is prevented. And then I go back to baiting. So he's being stubborn. I saw I had an SB1, I threw it. He's still being somewhat stubborn here. He threw it there. This next one I was not ready for, so I was late, and he dexed out of it, and then I got punished. It's all right, not panicking. I realized I have my SB1. He dexed out of it, but we got lucky with the second hit. So now we have both senses up. I saw the armor up was coming. I decided not to go in case my timing was too late. And then we got to SB2. Perfect. So now he throws SB1, heavy retaliate, punish him against the wall, and now finish it with the next SB2. So that would end my war. I was pretty happy I got my Tigra cherry popped for this war. She's doing a great job this season standing out against unstoppable armor, and it's good to see that you don't have to play like Finn to use her well. Our BG ended up beating out their BG 6-2, so not too bad of a war for us, especially when you're comparing it to how theirs performed, and we ended up winning this war 18-7. So a little bit higher than I'd like for us, but luckily the opponent didn't have a great war either. But happy to start the season off 4-1. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, follow, and share, and I will catch you at War 6.